Hey guys, what's up? Roxabox90 here. I'm coming to you with another rant slash thought video. This one is about Dismember. I talked last time when Mental Misstep got banned. I kind of gave an overview of my thoughts on Dismember, and I also talked a little bit about why I was kind of upset that it wasn't banned. But maybe I don't know if I quite clearly laid out my overall thoughts on Dismember, its pros, its cons, and so on. So I'm just going to give my thoughts on it. Some of them might be particularly on key. Some people might find them incorrect or maybe not applicable to them directly. But I'm just going to go with a general thought on this. So first up, I'm talking about why Dismember is ridiculously good. Possibly why it's a very useful card to have around. I'm going to kind of focus more on standard play. I don't want to fully get involved with, say, Legacy, which is a beast unto its own. But we'll focus mostly on standard, but it's more of a general rule what I'm talking about. So the first thing about Dismember, which made it ridiculous when it first arrived, was that it allows removal in every color, which is crazy, a little crazy. I mean, R&D went kind of off the walls with that, but it allows all decks to have removal. So it's a very powerful tool, very useful. In some decks, it'll just cost you 4 life. Other decks will have an option of different colored mana, so it will cost you 2 life or no life even late game. But that's the primary reason Dismember is as crazy as it is. Which, actually thinking about it, I think it's about $6 now for an uncommon and $20 foil uncommon. Which is absolutely absurd. But I'll actually get to the prices in a little bit. The second reason it's so good, it's an instant speed removal. And that's for any deck. For black, that's not unusual because black has lots of other removal. You have Doomblades, you have Go for the Throat, and you have a number of other removal spells. And that are all instants. But most colors, if they have removal, tend not to be instant speed, which is what makes it utterly ridiculous. Instant speed removal. If it was a sorcery, I doubt it would be as powerful. The fact that it's an instant is crazy. Number 3, it is very helpful for slowing down speed decks, rush decks, whether it be from ramp or just like White Weenie. You have White Weenie, you have Mono Red, you have ramp decks, such as the new Kessig Wolf Run deck, that's just an example, that ramps up to a Titan on turn 4, let's say. I know Valakut was really big with that, and a number of decks use that. Elf ramp, there's a lot of ramping that can be done. So it slows those decks down by getting rid of their key creature pieces that allow for that, and maybe it would be a little costly, but it would slow down. And that's really, really very useful for slower combo decks, let's say. But in general, every deck. Number 4 is that it's an uncommon, meaning everyone can get one, for the most part. I mean, they're still $6 each because everyone wants them, playsets in every deck and so on. But the fact that anyone can get for any given deck a playset fairly easily is very, very helpful. I mean, other cards that are absolutely crazy, such as, let's say, you want to get 4 costs in a deck. Those are very expensive. They're mythics. They're hard to find. Not so easy to do. These are uncommons, which is very, very powerful. And a pro, I think. If it would have been a rare, it would have been, or a mythic, it would have, it would never have been a mythic. But if it had been a rare, it would have been a little, it would have been more frustrating that way. Number 5. It's one of the best removal spells ever in a standard removal. I mean, the 5-5, it's not a destroy. So things that are indestructible can go down to it. And the 5-5 even can also be helpful in that it weakens. It doesn't have to just destroy. It can just weaken creatures. So if you have a massive creature, let's say a Titan, that is actually kind of 0.6, but I'll bring it under 0.5. Let's say someone attacks you with a Titan, and you have a 1/1 out. With Dismember, you can kill it. Whereas if you had a Doomblade, let's say to kill a Grave Titan, it wouldn't have worked. So that's very, very useful that it does that. That's all the good stuff. The bad stuff about Dismember, in my opinion, once again, is 1, it can be in every deck. It is homogeneous in every color, in every deck. Almost every deck has a sideboard, at least with 2, sometimes 4 of them. which is absolutely insane. So the fact that it's so used kind of warps the format. I disagree with this. Includes Legacy, not as much, but in Standard, it's pretty much a fact. So, I mean, I feel that's kind of that's not very healthy for the format, and I disagree with Wizards on this point. That Mental Misstep was particularly unfair. I think this is equally found throughout the format. Number 2, why it's not good. It breaks the mana curve that you kind of need in to have an effective variety in decks. So, for example, basically in Standard, you have a number of decks that run powerhouse creatures. I mean, that rely on strong creatures that survive Dismember. You have 6+ reliance. I'll call it that. I mean, Solar Flare has a lot of that, for example, where you have Worm Coils, Grave Titans, Consecrated Sphinxes, Sun Titans. Oh, the decks pretty much rely on that. If you don't have any of those, I mean, until you get to those big guys, the decks themselves are fairly slow and awkward. You have this found in Kessig Wolfron. You need Primeval Titan pretty much to go off. Where it would be a little more difficult to get Primeval out now without Lotus Cobra. But if Lotus Cobra, let's say in Valakut's time, had been around and you got rid of that with Dismember in a white weenie, that would have been a major undercut to speed. Maybe a bit wasteful, but particularly useful if you're worried about a turn 4 Titan or I don't think 3, but let's say turn 3 or turn 4 Titan. So it makes decks kind of reliant on creatures that have a 6 toughness or more in order to survive the game, because they just won't otherwise. And of course, this is particularly true. So now the format has a bunch of basically every Titan is in use, and you have Consecrated Sphinx and Wormcoil Engine. Like, those are the primary 3 monsters, 3 groups of monsters that are powerful now because they're all 6 toughness. You killed Baneslayer. You kill Obliterator, which was actually, as I said in my last video, it's very irritating that Obliterator vanished because it's such a powerful, amazing, cool, ridiculous card. And within their own set, they made its nemesis, its Bane, to use antiquated term. So it makes Standard into a 1, 2, possibly 3 drop creatures, and then 6 and onward drops creatures for the most part, which means that 4 or 5 drops, which would once be kind of a useful mid-game reaction, is no longer a possibility because Dismember exists. So people don't even consider it running it. So that's destroying the 4 5, the 3 to 4 to 5 mana curve, because of Dismember is not a good thing, in my opinion. And then number 3, I believe we're up to, in terms of negatives, it prevents diversity. As I said, it's homogeneous, but it's not just that every deck has it. It's that the diversity itself makes it that you are almost guaranteed to see mirror reactions of Dismembers. Every time you play, you're going to see your opponent will more than likely be using Dismember, which will mean you'll both be using Dismember. So Dismember will be constant throughout the format, and that's not very good. I know it's kind of like number 1, but I want to reiterate that point. And then the last question of all is, as bad, is it just broken? Is it a broken card? Did R&D totally screw it up? I know that I was watching a Mr. Orange guy video. He has pretty good videos, guys. But he talked about this in detail. Is Dismember broken? Mental Misstep, everyone agrees, is broken. It's too good. It was Dismember broken. He claimed it was, and I agree with him for some of these same reasons. Is it just too good a card? It's an uncommon, so everyone can get it. It's ridiculously powerful. It can run in any color deck, and it removes an entire chunk of the mana curve creature drop, all of which undermines a number of strategies. Which, in my opinion, does that make it broken? I would think it's leaning towards broken. As I said, I would have thought they would have banned it with Mental Misstep. I think it's just too powerful, but they didn't. I have my foil one and regular ones, and they didn't ban it, and that's that. But those are my thoughts. I know this video is about twice as long as normal, but I kind of want to cover all the bases with Dismember, and it's pretty ridiculous as a card, and it should be getting removed, obviously, until they officially ban it. People are going to continue using it, and that's that. But it's crazy. Anyway, you guys can tell me your thoughts about it, maybe insert some of your own problems with it or positives that you particularly like about it. Let me know what you think below, and rate, comment, subscribe. Thanks for listening.